Okay, are you ready? Thank you. Council, thanks very much for coming to this 4 o'clock meeting today. We are in the process of examining the numbers that have been put before us and come up with a tax rate increase that will be able to provide us with some advancement in our municipality and hopefully still making our electorate comfortable. Thank you, staff. Greg, it's good to see you. Martin, I'm glad you're with us. And Amy, I saw your name on here. Yes, Amy, we're delighted to have you as a spectator today. And we certainly will enjoy your presence, and we'll get the I's dotted so you can participate in the near future. Today's meeting is being held as a virtual meeting due to the declared emergency. It may be streamed live as well as recorded and published on the Southwest Middlesex YouTube channel. Council, is there any declaration of pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? I see no hands, so we'll move on. Item number 3 on the agenda is regarding the agenda which has been circulated. The recommendation is that council accept the budget meeting agenda dated December 8th, and it be accepted as presented. Is there any errors or omissions or additions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion if someone would be kind enough to move it. Deputy Mayor Wilkins, seconded by Councillor Bartlett. Discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Now we get into the nuts and bolts of the meeting with the staff report. As you recall, in our last meeting, we asked administration and staff to do some re-examination on the capital projects which were identified, and to see if we could pare this down a bit. We are our first 4A is the Southwest Middlesex 2022 operating budget. Greg, are you going to be putting this forward? Or Kristen, do you want to put it forward?
Through you, Mary Ellen, this is like Kristen's show here, so.
Yep, we'll let her do it then. It's Kristen's show, and by all means, Kristen, we know that this is your season.
All right. Can I share, Jill? Pretty please. I'll just share my screen for the new, the updated presentation here. Is everybody looking at the presentation? It says operating budget December 8th. All right. All right. So this first slide shows where we're at. We're in the same place as we were before. We haven't made any changes yet. So currently sitting at a tax rate increase of 6.58%, 1%, sorry, representing $101,172. So again, this is the same. This will, these would be the target savings that we'll need to achieve to decrease to those corresponding percentages. So where do we go from here? So at council's request in the last meeting, we've put together some steps that we could go through in order to maybe guide some of the discussion to make it easier for council to make some decisions. So we're going to present some opportunities through grants and donations, capital assets, and salaries and benefits. So the first one would be grants and donations. So these grants and donations presented on this slide are in addition to what's been approved in previous years. So I thought perhaps if we went through these 4 here, that'd be a good starting point. So if I hand this over to council to perhaps make some motions and vote on the grants and donations here, then I can update you as we go along on what our savings are.
Okay, thank you very much, Kristen. We'll focus on this particular page, and I urge all council to get engaged. And not only that, staff, we appreciate your engagement in this discussion as well. So the chair would be delighted if you see some potential that we're missing, bring it to our attention, and we'll try to pair this. I think the objective of all of council, and it was endorsed in the last meeting, that we wanted to see this at a more competitive level. You know, council also, I believe all of council support that, and with the help of council and staff, we'll certainly try to work on these numbers. Council, I think, Kristen, the best way, if you want to focus on these two, I'm going to ask for perhaps even round table. If I am not getting the conversation out of council, I am going to have to go to round table, because I would like to get some traction on this. So the Agricultural Society have requested a $10,000 grant for landscaping, and you're suggesting that that be reconsidered by council. Is that correct, Kristen?
Yes, these are considerations that, sorry, these are requests that have not been previously considered by council. So I left all of the reoccurring ones that we give each year in. So unless council would like to reconsider what was decided in a previous year, we could do that. But these are just ones that are new this year.
Okay, yeah, all right. But that and these tally that 6.58% tax rate increase when you put these in. That's where is that number?
These are included in the current 6.58. Yes.
Council, I can't see all of the screen. So council, I don't want to miss your hand. So perhaps you could just say chair or something to that effect. There you go. I can see.
I'll stop sharing for those. Yeah.
Yep. So council, we've got 4 items in front of us here. As Kristen said, these are new requests that we have. They make up a tax rate increase of 6.58 should we endorse them. And she has asked us to consider these. I think we should deal with them as they're presented on the slide. The Agricultural Society, $10,000 for landscaping. Is there any discussion on this? Yes, Councillor Cowell.
Sorry, I didn't have discussion for that one. I had my hand raised for some of the Melbourne ones to talk about those.
Well, I think we're going to direct our conversation with this, but Councillor Cowell, I'm really looking forward to that. And we certainly will engage your conversation in that. And I'll watch, but if we could just deal them as Kristen has presented. She's asked us the courtesy of examining these 4, so let's do it. Any discussion on that, on the Agricultural Society? Yes, Councillor Scholdice, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. What landscaping does this involve, and what other grants do we give the Agricultural Society now?
Very good question. The $10,000 would be to refurbish the landscaping around the exterior of the building known as the Ag Hall or the Cow Palace. I believe this quote came in from a local landscape supplier, and this has nothing to do with the $16,000 that council has approved through bylaw to give the agricultural community on an annual basis. This is above and beyond that. Greg, I saw your hand up, Greg, and certainly if you'd like to add to this, we would appreciate it.
Now, through you, Mayor Allen, you touched on exactly what I wanted to mention.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Councillor Scholdice, I don't want to leave any of your questions unanswered. We've identified what it is. It will not impact the $16,000. This is above and beyond that. Is there any follow-up, Mike, you have, or anything we can clarify? Yes, go ahead.
No, that's good. Thanks.
No problem. Okay. Any further discussion on this? Yes, Councillor McGill, and followed by Councillor Vink.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Mayhew. It's actually a little more than 16,000 we give the Ag Society, right? Because there's a cost of living allowance.
That's correct.
So what are we up to for 2022?
$17,061.
Okay. Mark, any follow-ups?
No.
Okay, that's fine. Council, the focus is on decision-making here. Councillor Vink, go ahead.
Yes, I'd like to point out that Mayor Allen, I unfortunately like to help Blanco Agricultural Society, but I don't think we can afford to give the $10,000 this year in light of the fact that we've already given 17,000.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you, Councillor Vink, for that comment. Any further discussion? Yes, Councillor Cowell, go ahead.
I just wanted to agree with Councillor Vink. I wish we could give it to them. I wish we could afford it this year, and perhaps it's something they can bring back to us next year, but it's been a really tight last year and we've got to make some hard decisions this year too.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Cowell, for that statement. And the chair shares your opinion, councillors, as well. Yes, Deputy Mayor Wilkins. Go ahead, Mary Gay.
Just trying to unmute myself, Mayor Mayhew. Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I would agree with that as well.
Okay. I think
I would encourage them to bring it back another year.
Yeah, I think that's well put. Yes. Knowing the challenge that we have in front of us, we have to make some cuts. I think it was identified by Parks and by our operations manager that we have some 60 elements of landscaping in our municipality. So we certainly put a significant amount of money in trying to beautify Southwest Middlesex. And as much as I'd like to give it to them too, I think this year that we have to be prudent. And there's been statements. Any further comments on that? If not, the people that have spoken on that through the chair, if they would make that a motion, Councillor Vink, would you make that a motion to remove that 10,000?
Yes, I will, Mayor.
Councillor Cowell, would you second that? Thank you very much. Is there any discussion that the $10,000 be removed? Is the motion? I see no hands. I'll call the question. All in favor? Motion's passed. Krista, you can make note of that. And I think what we'll do, let's go through all four of these if we could, Council, for the expediency of time. And we've got, unfortunately, some of this is cut off. Let me pull it up on my screen here. Let's move on. Council, we have before us the Firefighters Association, the outdoor rink. We've got the figure skating, waiving the ice rental fees. We have the Agricultural Society again down here, 5,000 operating funds. Can we make some traction on this, Council? Yes, Councillor Cowell, if you'd like to lead us off, go ahead, please.
I really sometimes think that it's a balancing act on how we support the different communities. And with that in mind, I know that we are very, very fiscally tight this year. I would love to see the Firefighters Association outdoor rink, but I can understand that the footing that entire 2,000 is not something that maybe we can do. So my suggestion would be to actually decrease what we provide the Melbourne Agricultural Society to $4,000 and provide $1,000 to the Melbourne Firefighters Association for the outdoor rink as a partial donation, and that we don't increase the $5,000 at the Melbourne Agricultural Society. So it accomplishes the same thing of eliminating the $7,000 requested. It just sort of rebalances where the money is going in Melbourne to be able to say, listen, this other organization is looking to do good things in your community, and we'd like to support that. And that would be, I'd make that motion, is that we allocate $1,000 towards the Melbourne Firefighters Association, and that we decrease the Melbourne Agricultural Society donation to $4,000. I'd make that motion.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Cowell. Is there a seconder for that, Council? And then we'll have ample discussion on it. Is there a seconder? No seconder. Okay, the chair will second that motion, Councillor Cowell, and we'll open it up for discussion. And this is friendly. We've got to talk through these things. Obviously, there's some aversion to this, so don't hesitate to. I want to make sure that there is discussion on these things rather than just disregard any councillor's comments. Councillor Scholdice, go ahead, Mike.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I just wondered if there was a reason given for the additional $5,000 request from the Agricultural Society.
Okay, the Melbourne Agricultural Society.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Melbourne.
Okay, yeah. And Kristen, I think that was, yeah, I'll let you answer that. It's obviously new. It's yeah.
It is. I'm just taking a look here. I did keep them all, but I don't know if it's a paper copy or a. Oh, I did find it here. I think it's just here. Sorry, I just pulled up their submission. Oh, it just says attached letter. I think it is just operating pressures. Okay, can I read to you their letter?
Yes, go ahead.
That's okay.
Yep, that'll be fine.
As in previous years, the Melbourne Agricultural Society relies on the support of our municipalities for operating grants to allow the board and community volunteers to continue to maintain our fairgrounds and facilities for the benefit of the village of Melbourne and adjacent communities. We no longer have a traditional fall fair. We spread our agricultural and home craft competition and community events throughout the year. We continue to encourage a 4-H beef club and host several 4-H pre-show for sheep and cattle. Our traditional 4-H and open market cattle show is held in August. With COVID-19 restrictions, we have held this event virtually this year, which was very new to us, but successful. Other traditional fair competitions that we would normally conduct throughout the year paired with other Melbourne Agricultural Society events from which we normally get much of our local financial support could not be held. Our clubs, we are dedicated to supporting, like Melbourne 4-H Beef Club, local 4-H sheep and horse clubs, etc. use our facilities and fairgrounds for pre-show and training purposes. These clubs were also forced to go virtual, and we had the judging on site in the hall. Community members are involved in creating and sewing Alzheimer's quilts in sewing bees at the hall. The free quilts are distributed locally to residents in private homes and nursing homes. Over 1,500 distributed so far. We look forward to our joint venture with the Melbourne Fire Department in creating a local skating rink on our fairgrounds for our community to use this winter. It's our intention with the funding to maintain and improve our facilities to meet new guidelines that are being implemented in order for us to host an event and to assist us in providing rural community activities.
Okay, thank you, Kristen. That will clarify that. Councillor Scholdice, that's about the best we can do. A follow-up, Mike? Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I'm just curious, do we know, is the $2,000 for the skating rink the entire cost of it, or are we sharing it with anybody else?
Kristen, answer that.
That is a partial cost. I can also read to you. I think they're basically saying anything that can help is great. It says, I read somewhere that it's 1,000 to 3,000 is what they requested. Any donation will help.
Okay, thank you. And one more question, Michael.
I'd like to move that we approve $5,000 for the Melbourne Agricultural Society and $1,000 for their outdoor ice rink.
Mike, Councilor Scholz, there's already a motion on the floor, so we'll have to deal with that, okay?
Okay, I thought that was defeated.
Seconded by myself, but
Sorry.
no problem. We'll certainly come back to you on that, Mike. If this motion fails, which from my observation it may, we'll certainly come back to you. And any more questions? You're okay there? You've had two. Any other questions regarding this motion? Yes, Deputy Mayor Wilkins, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I won't be supporting this because I think that it would be detrimental to the Agriculture Society to reduce the amount that we've given in the past. They undoubtedly budget and plan for that amount. So I won't be in favor of reducing it by $1,000. Just a comment.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Kristen, if I could ask you, this money that they're requesting on these 4 entries here, from a historical perspective, is this not a new request? It doesn't reflect on the old, or is that correct?
Yes, for the Melbourne Agricultural Society, sorry, we traditionally give them 5,000. They're asking for 10 this year. And the rink, the outdoor rink, is a brand new project.
Okay, so Deputy Mayor, I guess the intent of the motion is to continue giving them what we have in the past, the $5,000. This is
that's not what I understood. It's to reduce it to 4, Mayor Mayhew.
Okay, that's correct. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Reduce it to $1,000. All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, Councillor Cowell, go ahead.
Part of my thought process behind this motion is that Strathroy-Caradoc actually owns the fairgrounds there and owns the building, and that the Melbourne Agricultural Society is an organization of folks who get together to provide agricultural opportunities in the area. And I thought, comparison wise as to what our Glencoe Agricultural Society has to accommodate with regards to the building that they maintain versus the Melbourne one, I thought it was a bit disproportionate. And I remember when we first came on council, I believe our donation was only $2,000. So it jumped significantly. And with everything that's been happening, I just thought tighten our belt buckles kind of thing. But I respect the opinions of everyone here.
Thank you, Councillor Cowell. Just to reiterate, Councillor Cowell that moved the motion, it is a question of give and take. We are going to have to move some of the numbers around, and I think the intent was to share our budgetary abilities and not reduce or not consider a request. I think Councillor Vink had his hand up. Martin, go ahead, please. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Allen. I just wanted to let you know, Mayor Allen, I've been cut off a couple of times on the internet.
Sure.
So I'm hoping I caught most of the conversation, so I'm hoping I can still vote on the motion.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Even a hand signal will help, Martin, if I can't hear you. Okay. Anyway, is there any further discussion on that? Yes, Councillor McGill.
Yeah, I think we should call the question because it's about a half an hour into the meeting and we're only on the second item.
Okay. Councillor Cowell has made the motion. The chair has seconded it. And the reason being that I want to treat people equitably, but I don't want to leave anybody out. Anyway, we'll call the question. All in favor of the motion as it stands?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I wasn't.
Okay. All opposed? Motion fails. Councillor Scholz, did you want to make a motion?
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I'll move that we approve $5,000 for the Melbourne Agricultural Society as well as $1,000 for the Melbourne outdoor ice rink.
I have a question before I second it.
Yep.
We're not increasing it to 10. We're just giving them the same 5, right? Councillor Schuldeis?
Yep.
Yes, that's what the motion says.
Okay, I second that then.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that clarification. We have a motion on the floor. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion on this. Please direct your questions to Kristen through the chair. Seeing none, we'll call the question. All in favor of the motion as it stands? Looks unanimous. Thank you very much, Council. Kristen, give us a target and we'll see if we can hit it for you here.
I think there is one more on there.
Oh, is there? It is. Yep, you're correct.
Glencoe Figure Skating Club?
Yes. Would you like to give us some background on that, Kristen? Is there any information that would be valuable to council?
That is for, they've said that their bingo hall has closed, so that has affected their ability to fundraise. So this is for their March ice rental fees, is what they're asking for, a fee reduction, basically. So it's not a donation in money out, but it's a reduction in our revenue.
Okay, thank you very much. Council, are there questions regarding this? Yes, Councillor Bartlett, followed by Councillor Vink.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor, to Kristen. Kristen, is that $2,000 the full amount? Or is that just a partial reduction?
That I don't know. I don't know how much ice they typically book. That's the specific amount that they ask for on their grant application.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Councillor Vink. Or Councillor McGill.
Thank you, Mayor Allen.
On deck. Yeah.
Once again. Okay, thank you, Mayor Allen. Once again, I'll have to make a motion to not to fund this. I know in tonight's meeting for vouchers that we are receiving a security bill for a fair amount of money. And so our costs have actually gone up to run the arena because of COVID. And so under these circumstances, I don't see how we can help them out.
Okay, thank you, Martin. Councilor McGill, I have not forgot about you, but Martin, you did make that a motion. I heard that you're moving that. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct, Mayor Allen.
Okay. All right, the chair's duty is to call for a seconder on that, and then we'll have full discussion. Is there a seconder for that? Councilor McGill will second that. Thank you. Okay, there is a motion on the floor. We'll open it for discussion, and Councilor Councilor McGill has priority here. He's had his hand up and been very patient. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Mayhew. Yeah, it is a good cause, but we have in this budget, I think, a proposal to spend $4.4 million on arena upgrades. So we're doing a lot for the people that use the arena, both the hockey and the figure skating people. And we have to think about the taxpayers and trying to keep the taxes down to a reasonable level.
Thank you. Just to expand on that, council does have a fees and charges bylaw that we've adopted as a council too. And, you know, the question has to be asked, should we be deviating from that? That could be a point of interest for some councillors. Any further discussion on this? The chair sees no hands. I'll call the question, moved by Vink and seconded by McGill, that we decline the adjustment in the ice fee rentals. All in favor, please raise your hand. Looks unanimous, council. Thank you very much. Kristen, I'll hand the steering wheel to you now.
All right. That brings us down to 6.4%. I'm just making some adjustments there. Okay, so the next slide here, I'll share this, is the proposed capital budget. Items that, again, what's proposed here for discussion are items that staff felt could either be removed or deferred a year. Like I've removed the assets, and I think I said this in the email I sent to council yesterday too. I don't know that it's a good use of our time to talk about the arena and the landfill that are currently in there right now, because we don't have all the information to make that decision. So it seems more fiscally responsible to leave it in the budget, and if we raise the funds for it and we don't use them, we can set it aside for a future project, but this still leaves our options open if we leave it in there. So these are the assets that we could offer up without affecting the current state of operations. So if we want to go through those, further to the capital, it says, oh no, that's moves to wages. So if we want to go through these items in capital and make some decisions on those, then again, we're still making headway moving forward.
Okay. Well, thank you, Kristen. If you could go back to a full screen.
Yes, sir.
And I'll they go beginning at the rescue truck for 42,500. We want to make sure our decisions are intact. Chief Sewell, I don't think is with us at this meeting. I don't see it there. And you know that you may want his opinion on that, should council not be able to decide. I think there are some things on here that are very easy, but I'll ask council to engage in this conversation, and staff, don't hesitate to give your opinions on this or additional information for the good of council. We welcome your engagement as well. The rescue truck, 42,000. Are there any comments from council on this? Yes, Councillor Cowell.
No, I just had a bunch that I wanted to pick off really quickly because I think, like you said, they were easy. Yep. I think that we should consider deferring the printer as per the suggestion of staff, the backstop repair for Appin and Glencoe for a year, the Simpson Park removal for a year, and the Vision Zero signs for a year.
Well, I had those ticked as well. That's a good suggestion.
And I would make that motion.
Okay, is there a seconder for that? Is there a seconder? Councillor Vink, thank you very much. We'll open this up for discussion, and let's focus on the copier, the backstop, the Simpson Park, and the Vision Zero. Is there any engagement from council on these? Yes, Deputy Mayor Wilkins.
I'm not sure I could support the department pickup at this time. I think that it's probably a very good idea to have it, but I'd like to see that deferred as well. And I'm wondering if the mover would entertain a friendly amendment.
I would be willing to entertain a friendly amendment for the department fire truck pickup truck.
Thank you.
That's very good. Thank you, Deputy Mayor, for that. Councillor Vink, would you agree that $9,048 be removed as well in addition to your seconder?
Mayor Allen, can I comment on that?
Yes.
Why don't we let Mary Gage second the motion then?
I interpret that you're not. I thought you had already seconded the motion. It's been recorded as such. will you agree to a friendly amendment?
Yes, I would, but if the deputy mayor wants to second it, that's fine too.
Jill, you've recorded Martin as seconding that motion. Is that correct?
I'm okay with it staying the way it is, Mayor Mayhew.
As well. All right, discussion. We've added another one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That motion takes 5 of those away. And perhaps Kristen can do some adjustments on our computer. If this passes, she'll give us the effect of the tax rate reduction. Any other questions? And again, we're taking these off the budget, but we can re-entertain them in future years coming up next year. They'll be re-examined. Any last call for questions? Seeing none, I'll call the question.
Could you read the motion?
Yep, I'll have Jill do that. It's the
Okay, so I have it, Mayor Mayhew, as that the following proposed capital budget items be removed from the 2022 budget: fire department pickup, large copier printer, the backstop repairs for Appin and Glencoe, and Simpson Street Park, as well as Vision Zero signs. Is that correct?
That is correct. Thank you, Jill. That is correct. You got a grasp on that now, Mark? Okay, good. Okay, any further questions? All those in favor of the 5 items being deducted, please raise your hand. Unanimous. Thank you, Council. There's 4 items remaining on this slide that Kristen has presented us. Kristen and staff, Greg, we certainly would entertain any help you can give us in this conversation. If I look at them, the next one, the rescue truck is $42,500. Any comments from staff on that? Yes.
If I could, I know Colin was more concerned that we were able to, put it on council's radar. And sorry, are we talking about the fire truck or Greg's truck?
Rescue truck.
Okay, perfect. And I recommended that we just proceed with putting some money away, but reduce the reserve for that, so that we're still moving towards the truck, but not committing as much financially this year to it.
Thank you for that, Kristen. And that was a very effective exercise we did in last year's budget. We phased the procurement of it over a period of 2 years or 3 years. So you could put 21,000 away this year and 21,000 next year, or we could third that. We could certainly go around 14,000 a year. Would also do it over the next 3 years. That's an option, and thank you for that information that Chief Sewell could tolerate that. Jill, I saw your hand up too. Thank you for your patience.
Sure. So my understanding, and Kristen can maybe jump in as well, I think what the chief is looking for is the ability to proceed with getting the specifications onto the market. So it's support for the purchase of the truck, and it's not solely just setting aside the money and waiting for a future direction. This would be the direction that he would be able to put this on the market, because he knows it takes some time for it to actually be built. So I just want to be clear that it's not just setting aside the money. He's looking at this as authorization to go ahead and put it on the market in 2022.
Okay. Yes, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I'm wondering if Chief Sewell has done any investigating into whether the companies that manufacture the trucks for these are even taking orders at this time.
Oh, he's not here to answer that question, and unless Jill has that information, it could be speculative, but I don't believe the chair is going to be able to find you an answer on that, Mary Gay. We certainly will. Jill, you know, I know procurement is difficult in terms of anything automotive or truck related. Yes.
Yeah, through you. I think he's had conversations with others who've had their trucks on the market recently, and it is taking quite some time. I think even from our own trying to purchase just a general pickup truck is taking quite a bit of time. So I believe that is what the chief has shared previously, and perhaps Kristen or Greg could confirm.
Mm-hmm. Just yes, I think that's true, but I just remind council that should it be accepted by council to have that in our 2022 budget, so that those that could be obtained, that information, it still goes on the levy.
Mayor Mayhew?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
yeah.
Go ahead.
So the chief has confirmed that they are taking orders.
Okay, great. And Greg, Kristen, we certainly will take Kristen. Any further information you could give us on that, or like?
That's all I have at this time, sir.
All right, council. Any further discussion? Councillor Bartlett, followed by Councillor Vink.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. I know it's going to be needed down the road, so I would make a motion that we proceed with it with half the money put aside, so 21,000.
And the other half, yeah, okay, that's fine, yep. And
I'll second that.
And it shows, thank you, Deputy Mayor, very much. It shows council's intention of support, but in terms of some assistance on our levy. Councillor Vink, did I see your hand up there? Yes, go ahead.
Yes, you did. Thank you, Mayor Allen. My question is, how did the $42,500 arrive in the first place? To me, it must mean that it's a realistic figure. That's what it's going to cost the taxpayers every year once we get the rescue truck.
Kristen, if you'd like to address that, if you need the question clarified, which you may, the chair can attempt to.
I think if I understand your question correctly, Councillor Vink, it's a $425,000 truck that we would debenture over 10 years at $42,500 per year each of the 10 years. Is that, did I understand you correctly?
Martin is having some technical difficulty there, Kristen.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right. There is a motion on the floor. And we'll continue to ask questions. Yes, Councillor McGill, go ahead.
I just want to be sure I understand the motion. The staff recommendation was to reduce the reserve for the rescue truck by 22,500. Is that the same as what Councillor Bartlett is proposing in his motion?
It's similar. He's proposing to reduce it by 21,000.
Not 22,500.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
I just like to remind council that if we approved all these staff recommendations for reductions, that would still only bring us down to a 4.7% tax increase, which some of us might find too high.
Yeah, those are suitable words, Councillor McGill. Yeah, we have a lot of work to do. It will be challenging, as you indicate, and I know the tax rate increases. I've talked to Cindy Howard at the county where municipalities will be coming in with tax rate increases, and they range from 2% up to 12%. So no, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. 12 to 9. So the midway point is about what staff have arrived at now. But I know very often when we compare ourselves against other municipalities, we like to be somewhat beyond the center, a little bit better than the middle. But anyway, continuing on with that, we certainly understand Councillor Bartlett's motion. Councillor Scholdice, your question?
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. This is slightly off topic, but it follows on what Councillor McGill just brought up. I just wondered if we're going to be discussing the sidewalks for the upcoming year. I know that we've got quite a bit of money set aside there, and I wondered if we were going to have a discussion on that at all.
I'm sure it'll entertain itself. It's a big ticket item, Councillor Scholdice, and we'll certainly work our way in that direction. The quicker we go through these slides that Kristen has presented today for our consideration, the sooner we'll get to it. But I'll make sure that's on the chair's radar, and we'll certainly get your engagement on it. Further questions relating to that? Yes, Jill, go ahead, please.
So my apologies. If council's kind of going through the capital budget items one by one, and certainly if there's other capital budget items you want to consider, but Kristen may want to pop up that original capital presentation just to demonstrate where reductions in projects would actually have an impact on the tax rate. Because my recollection is that reducing, for instance, reducing the sidewalk budget wouldn't have any impact on the tax rate because it's through OCIF and gas tax reserves and reserves, correct?
Yes.
This is correct, yes.
Yep. Yeah, sure.
It might, if we can take a look at the ones that are being presented, then maybe I can, and council still would like to pursue a further, reduced target. We can go back and try and do some more work considering what we've approved and elected to defer.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But if we can make some headway, we have another 35 minutes in this meeting, and make some headway on this. And then the last item of business would be to give staff direction to pursue a goal. Jill, go ahead, please.
Apologies, but thank you, Mayor Mayhew. So I think we've got the motion related to the fire rescue truck.
Yep, that's
perfect. Sure. Thank you.
No, okay. Last call for questions on this, and they have to be on topic. Seeing none, does anyone need the motion reread? We're deferring it over a period of time, putting away approximately half of it this year and half in future years, showing our intent. I'll call, yes, Jill, go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to be clear. I'm not taking what staff has proposed as a deferral to purchase. So I want to be clear that that's what's understood, is that what's being recommended still allows the chief to put it on the market in 2022. If we're just raising some money and reserving some funds for a future purchase, that's a different direction. Two different things, and I just want to be clear on the motion.
Okay. Councillor Bartlett, can you clarify your intent there?
Yep. Excuse me. My intention was to go ahead with the purchase down the road, but just to change the reserve this year.
Okay. All right. And Jill, that's understood now?
A purchase down the road, not in 2022?
No, the intention would be to do it in 2022.
Perfect.
But just reserve half the amount. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's understood now. Okay, the chair has asked for questions, has not received any. You're in a state present to make a decision. All in favor? Carried unanimously. And land purchase in Wardsville for multi-use building, 27,000. Kristen, any comments on that? I'm not sure if Doug's frozen in his state. Doug's hand is up, but he appears frozen. It could be from the last vote, council. So go ahead, Kristen. Okay.
This is a proposal that was in line with the facilities and recreation master plan. So it would set us up to be able to put a multi-use building, perhaps a community center, fire department, library, community hub for Wardsville.
Okay, yes, and we'll certainly entertain questions. Councillor Cowell, go ahead.
So the recommendation that we see before us says that it's going to come out of reserve fund for Wardsville. And I'm just wondering which reserve that is. I tried to suggest the reserve that we'd created for the fire department, and that was shut down. So I'm just wondering which reserve this is coming out of.
That is, let me just take a look here. That is the reserve for the cement pad that we had set aside before. So that's not the fire hall reserve fund.
Okay. Okay. Yes, Councillor Scholdice, go ahead.
I'd like to move that we approve it.
Okay. And a seconder for that? I see lots of hands here. I see 3. Councillor Powell, I believe I saw your hand first. You want to second that motion? Okay, thank you. I got it. Questions, and I'm going to refer to Councillor Bartlett and Councillor Vink because your hands were up. I'm not sure how to interpret your message, but go ahead, Councillor Bartlett.
Yeah, sorry, I got kicked out again. Could I just hear the motion, please?
Yes. Jill, if you could.
Yeah, actually, I would like clarification too. So all I got was that it be approved. So.
All right. Okay. Mike, do you want to clarify that?
Sure. For Councillor Bartlett, we're approving the $27,000 from reserves for the land purchase in Wardsville for the multi-use building. And Kristen explained that the reserves are coming from what was going to be for the cement pad at the park.
Okay. Yep. And Greg, I'd like his input on this. I see his hand up. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Allen, I need some clarification then. I mean, are we dealing with the effect of the tax base here, or is like we seem to be talking about reserves and the same language? So I think what we're talking about is accepting that tax impact, right?
I believe so. Yeah, we're looking for things to take out, but this motion was to leave it in. So, you know, it's, I guess we can certainly, we'll have council's opinion on this, and we can move on to other things. Councilor Cal, go ahead.
I think I need a smidgy bit of clarification. So this year is coming out of the reserve, and next year will impact the tax base because this is being debentured over 3 years. Or did we really have $150,000 in a cement pad?
Sorry, no, it is $15,000 in a cement pad is what was being taken from reserves. So the total cost is $150,000 with $15,000 coming from reserves, and the remaining $135,000 is being debentured over 5 years. So $27,000 is being raised in taxes this year.
Okay.
I don't want to second that.
Okay. Yep. All right. There's a motion. Is there a seconder? Yes, Deputy Mayor Wilkins.
I'll second it, Mayor May.
Okay. Thank you. Chair will ask for discussion on this. Councillor Cowell, go ahead.
This is a question through the chair to the councillors who set up the other reserve. What was the point of setting up the other reserve if it wasn't to move these projects forward without impacting the tax base, or with it impacting the tax base as little as possible?
Okay, Kristen, you want to address that? Or do you need clarification on it?
No, I can. I can't presume to, like, I don't want to assume what the other councillors were intending when they did not vote for that, but there will be future costs for sure. For example, for the next 5 years, we'll have $27,000 a year for this that we could bring in future years, that reserve to apply against, or we can use that reserve for the actual building of the building. Like there's still opportunity in the future to use it.
Okay, it'll be earmarked for Wardsville, so to speak. Yeah. Looking for hands. Councillor McGill, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I'm having trouble understanding this motion. Is it approving what the staff recommendation is?
Staff did not recommend to remove that. So yes, I guess in effect it's recommending that we leave that purchase in the budget, those tax dollars to be raised.
So it's not recommending that we use reserve funds for Wardsville.
It's recommending that we use the reserve funds that I had already in place, and so not the funds that we had set aside for the Wardsville Fire Department, or the Wardsville Fire Building, sorry, but we are using the funds instead that we had set aside for a cement pad, $15,000 for a cement pad at the park.
So that's another thing I can't understand. It says use reserve funds for Wardsville, but there's only 15,000 in this cement pad fund.
Yes.
So where's the other 12,000 coming from?
The tax base.
Yeah. Yes.
That's a debenture over 5 years. So
yeah, that's debentured.
The 15,000 was applied to the total cost of the project, and then the 15,000 you minus that off the total cost of the project, then you get that debenture amount over 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
We took the 15 off the purchase price, and the 130. So the purchase price is 150. We took it off of that and then debentured the 135 over 5 years. So the impact to the taxes this year is 27,000, and staff were recommending to continue forward with that, and that's what Councillor Schuldeis has moved. To my understanding is that we can leave that in the budget and continue and move forward with it.
Okay. Jill and Councillor Schuldeis, if you have any concerns, just raise your hand. But Jill, go ahead. I saw your hand.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. Yeah, I would want council to confirm their understanding that this would be in 2022 to start to look for actual land purchase for a multi-use building. So staff would be trying to look for that type of a property in Wardsville.
Okay. Yep. Councillor Schuldeis, I think everyone has an understanding of the motion that was made.
Yes.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask council, all in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All opposed? Motion's carried. Okay. We're down to 3 more on here. We have the Main Street Parquet, the new playground equipment in Appin, and the double axle plow truck. Any engagement from council on this or staff? Kristen, perhaps, are there any opening remarks you'd like to make on those 3?
The Main Street Park has definitely been a point of concern, and I think maybe Greg could speak to this a little bit. He's thinking that we could address, I don't want to speak out of turn, but maybe part of it with the sidewalk. Mm-hmm. If I understood you correctly, Greg?
Through you, Mayor Allen, if I could, to council, a couple things with regards to the parquet. I mean, first of all, the parquet is a memorial parquet and was established by a local family and installed. The current state of the actual water unit is it's all rusted out and needs to be completely replaced. You know, we have issues with the bordering there, the gardens itself, which are basically collapsing. And we also have surface issues associated with the bricking that's in there. So in this particular situation, you know, to address the concerns that were raised throughout the summer period, you know, we did put money in there to see whether we could, you know, make this a safer place or a different place, or, you know, incorporate some of the memorial part of this into something that's more functional for the downtown. And even at this particular point, we would still have to have that communication with the particular family that was involved originally. And, you know, maybe there's some type of cooperative plan that we could, you know, that we could come up with them. And I think certainly when we are looking at, you know, a $500,000 sidewalk budget, then we could, you know, we are going to pick some of these smaller areas where we could then provide new surfacing, et cetera, as part of some efficiencies of our capital infrastructure program moving forward. So this one's a little bit more difficult. It's not as simple as, you know, the general taxpayers just, you know, making improvements to this parks. It will be a cooperative venture with us and the family involved. So that's kind of what I know about that.
Okay, and thank you, Greg. And I'm sure the volunteer community are anxious. I know they are anxious to get involved in it too, once they have the municipality's direction and permission. Yes, I'm looking for hands. Councillor Scholdice, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. Just on the Main Street parkette, if we approve this, will a plan come before council before any work is undertaken on it?
I would hope so. I hope we would be privileged to seeing the concept. Greg, could you speak to that?
Yeah, and through you, and good question from Councillor Scholdice. I think that would be necessary in this particular case, considering the original installation was done, you know, and it is listed as a memorial park. There are some certain things that were brought there, you know, like the benches itself from other areas. So yeah, of course, we would want to bring that back for support from council moving forward with anything that's done there.
Yep, and it is a memorial park, but it's also a municipal asset, and I know the volunteer community would certainly step up to the plate as well. Any other questions? Yes, Councillor Scholdice, go ahead.
I'm just for some clarification on the process that we're in. Are you looking for motions to approve these individually still, or
whether to leave them in or take them out, Councillor Scholdice? Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I'll make a motion to leave the Main Street parkette in.
Okay, thank you. Is there a seconder for that? Council Deputy Mayor Wilkins, thank you. Any further questions that you'd like to address, have addressed to Kristen or Greg or Jill? And that motion is pretty clear, Jill. I think we've got that one. I'll call the question. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Motion is carried. We're down to 2 on this page, Kristen, and I'm looking at the time. We've got about another 20 minutes. We have new playground equipment in Appin, and we have a double axle plow. And we'll certainly start off acknowledging Councillor Cal's hand here. Do you have a question or a comment, Councillor Cal?
To make a motion that we leave the $14,000 and change in the budget for the Appin playground.
Okay. Is there a seconder for that? Okay, Councillor McGill. Discussion on this. Yes, Greg, we certainly be interested in your comments on this. You're familiar with it?
Yeah, just a couple things with regards to this, and through you, Mayor Allen, to council as well as Kristen. One, this was an item that was the direction item in the Facilities and Rec Master Plan. So that's why it's sitting before you. It is, you know, one of the pieces of equipment that we reviewed that needs to be replaced. Secondly, Kristen, can you just kind of go through the actual complete funding of this so that they know what the tax base is, or the tax impact is, and where the rest of the money came from?
Yes, sir. Through you, Mayor. That is, we've got a cost of $200,000 in there. We're gonna pull some reserves of 46,449 from the playground reserve, like the Eckford playground reserve, park reserve, sorry, that came in with amalgamation. There's only a little bit left in there. There's a small playground reserve in the facilities and recreation reserve fund. And we had funds set aside for the app and community improvement last year. So collectively, those would be put towards this playground, which would bring the cost down to 153,500, and that will be debentured over 10 years. So $14,051 per year for the next 10 years. And this will include a spongy base that will eliminate the need for wood fiber or sand. So hopefully less maintenance and less issues going forward.
Okay. Thank you.
And just lastly, Mary Ellen, it would be an AODA compliant piece of play equipment as well.
Okay, that's great. Yes, I was at meetings today with respect to that subject, Greg. Councillor Scholdice, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. Just on the topic of the playground equipment and app, and I'd just like to point out that it's crucial that the original grade that it's sitting on now is too low and it has to be elevated. That playground equipment has always been underwater.
Okay.
Whenever we have heavy rains, it always ponds around that. So it has to be elevated before they start.
Yeah. Okay. And Greg's nodding his head in approval. So I'm sure that operations are familiar with that situation. Last call for questions. Yes, Jill, go ahead, please.
Did you want to see the slide that referred to this capital item?
If council would like to examine that, perhaps we should. Yes. Can it be brought up quickly? Gosh, I'm in the dark here.
Okay, I just thought that I think that's what Kristen was reading off of. I thought it would be helpful to look at it.
Okay. Greg, if, yep. All right. Okay, Councillor Scholdice has a question.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. This will be the last one on it. Is that the actual playground equipment, that picture?
No, I think that was just there for aesthetics in the report, and there'll be some work done on that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, the chair will call the question. All in favor, please raise your hand. Carried unanimously. Thank you. Okay, we have one more on that list there, and we're going to ask Kristen how this impacts our taxes following that. The double axle plow truck. Greg, you may want to speak to this to inform council of the history of it.
Yeah, through you, I can start this off, Mayor Ellen, to council. And Kristen's going to have to help me here a little bit, but this is an item that was brought forward from previous capital. So we would have raised money for this for a certain dollar value already with this particular unit. And since we, are in these challenging times, I have spent a fair bit of time with the public works supervisor with regards to this unit and the unit that it would replace, and have no issue if this was deferred for a year, simply because they're going to keep that other truck in good shape. And if we are in a challenging time here, that wouldn't be a problem for us to defer this for a year. But Kristen may help out with the actual funding for this. The other thing that I do have a concern with is the current number that we have. It's such an unknown in this type of market right now that the last thing I want to do is come back to council and say, I need another $100,000 to replace the truck after it's approved. So,
okay, I see that. So some consideration was given to that. Greg, thank you. Kristen, I'll get to you. I just want to address Councillor Cowell's hand here. Go ahead, Kristen.
I was just going to motion that we defer it for a year.
Okay, thank you. Is there a seconder for that? Yes, Councillor Scholdice has seconded it. Okay, conversation will continue. Krista, we can start off with you if you have any concern.
No,
Okay,
no.
that's good. This will be the last call for questions. Are there any? Yes, Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, through the chair, I'd like to ask Greg,
Thank you, Mayor Allen.
how long do you anticipate the wait to be from the time you ordered the truck until you received it?
Greg, go ahead.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Allen, to Councillor McGill. It's probably going to be about a year. So at this particular point next year, if council approved moving forward with it, we would be ordering it then, but we're looking probably at a year for delivery. So we certainly have had that conversation internally with regards to, you know, the current truck that we have being in place for a couple of years, and there is not a huge issue with that moving forward.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Councillor Vink, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Allen. It's something that we know we are going to have to purchase. And so I think what we're doing is we're just pushing the cost to the next council by removing this item.
Okay. Any further comment? Yes, Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, through the chair to Greg again. What year is the truck we're replacing?
Yeah, but through you, Mary Ellen, I'd have to check, but I think it's 2008. I don't know. I would have to check for you, Mark.
Okay. All right. Okay, the motion is on the floor. It's been duly moved and seconded that we defer this. Jill, you have the motion recorded.
Yeah, I just wanted to be clear on what the motion was. It's to defer this altogether for future consideration. Is that correct?
Yep. Okay, I see Councillor Cal nodding her head. The seconder is in agreement with that. Okay. That's been confirmed. I'll call the question. All in favor? All opposed? Motion's carried. Kristen, I guess we got through that slide. We'll let you do your math skills there, okay?
Sure. We probably, if council wishes, we probably have time for a couple of the staff proposals as well. But we are currently sitting at 5.09.
Okay, 5.09. Well, we've come a little ways. Yeah, we've come a little ways.
Yeah. So if I move on to the slide on staffing and wages here, you can see that the 2020 slide column in the slide above shows our pre-reorganization payroll budget, and it's comparing it to the 2022 budget. So you can see there's a difference of 113,000 there. And if we remove the development review coordinator because it was not considered in those reorganized departments, that leaves the increase in payroll from 2020 to 2022 at 0.51%. So what this is actually saying is we're still in a cost savings position in that operations department with the proposed staffing changes in there. So these are the 4 staffing proposals. And really for each of them, there will be a service level, there's a service level component with them if staff could, or sorry, if council could consider. So the arena hours have increased. So if we remove this proposed winter recreation operator, it will either require overtime or a decrease in hours available to the public. But this is required because our arena hours have increased significantly. And in the summer position is really to look after the gardens and some of the outdoor spaces that we currently have that were previously taken care of by volunteer organizations. So with the level of calls that we got last year for weeding of the gardens, this position is required to keep up with council's, what seems to be council's desired level of service there. And that's the same case for the public works position too. That is to take care of some of the weeds on the roadways and sidewalks that were around. And then the development review coordinator position is really to respond to level of service expectations, the increased development and the strain that it does put on the other departments. And there's been some concern that it's slowing the process down. So those are the 4 proposals that staff are putting forward this year. If we want to consider some of those or any of those.
Okay, Council, Jill, you're significantly involved in this topic too. Is there any comment, or has Kristen covered it all pretty well?
I think Kristen did a nice job of covering that. She's helped to provide the overview of the change, and that was requested at the last meeting with budget discussion between the operational restructuring, as well as just identifying service level changes. And so the impact that we're hoping to have with these positions is to support what we understand as the community and council's goals. But we're definitely, and we've each spoken about these in our department business plans, but happy to take any questions about those. And I guess if there's a direction around a specific reduction of the tax rate reduction, we're just trying to align that conversation with what are the service level expectations. So what we have done in our business plans is try to match service level expectation to the actual resources required. So I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, there certainly is a correlation between service and the amount of money we spend. So, Council, are there any questions on these 5 lines here? Any clarification that's required? Councillor Vink, go ahead, please.
Yes, I'll just ask my 2 questions right at the beginning. First of all, I'm in this development review coordinator. Like I said before, we had a reorganization 2 years ago, and now we have a director of operations. We have assistant, and we have a part-time economic officer. And I heard the conversation that it would help with the planning, but the planning is a Middlesex County issue. I remember Councillor Karen Aranya voted against approving Middlesex County. If there's a problem looking after the planning, if there's a problem with the planning, then it's Middlesex County that should be hiring somebody else, not us. And also, I heard, I believe Councillor Schuldice asked a question one time, how many hockey teams we have, and we have only 6. So I wonder why the arena hours are increasing. Is it because of the COVID situation? Because it seems like it's a little bit less use than before.
I think Greg can speak to that, but I believe our hours are up as well as our level of service. But Greg, I'll let you identify the answer to that.
Yeah, I mean, through you, Mayor Allen, that is correct. The hours are up. I mean, if you remember when we went through restructuring through you, Mayor Allen, the council, we were dealing with 25 hours of ice time rented a week, and we had 4 full-time staff sitting there in that particular department. So the situation we have in front of us now is we have a 2-fold increase in the ice time. And we never ever, this is a community recreation hub for everybody in the municipality. We don't make decisions based on the number of minor hockey teams, because that does fluctuate based on your development in your particular municipality. And I would ask council to just relate and to have a look at what's happening in Kamoka right now and in Kilworth. where you have all new families coming in with children and their minor hockey systems are exploding. So I don't, it's very difficult to kind of go down a road where we just don't have enough staff to service the public. And that is the key to both the facility and rec and the public works departments. This model that council approved, the restructuring model, is very effective. And I think, again, everybody around this table, if they have an issue, it's dealt with immediately. And that includes all the residents in the municipality. So, it is a community, the building is a community hub. It's there for everybody, whether you live in one part of the municipality or the next. And, that's a big part of the way that building functions. We need to respond and make sure that we do have staff to service the building. We're running programs in the building now that weren't run in the building before. And that type of stuff is happening. And, we're getting more use and we're running more programs ourselves for the residents on our own ice. So that's kind of just my little explanation on the arena side. Certainly on the, as far as the facility and rec staff person, the extra person, that is certainly, I think, just simply a response to the lack of volunteerism because of COVID in the community and being able to maintain that service level that council and the residents want. And we're flexible on that public works position when it comes to taking weeds off roads. But again, that is a little bit of a, if that's the service level council wants and the residents want, then certainly that position is in there to accomplish that task. But it is an area that there could be some movement there. But, and if I had a comment about the development coordinator position, when I first arrived here, there was no development. I was 3.5 before years in April. Now we're inundated with development. So, and really what we are faced with every day is expediting those particular development agreements and making development move forward as quickly as we possibly can in the framework of the province, the county, and ourselves. And, it is a lot of work for 2 people, 3 people. And, if we are challenged, it is in the processing and just, moving this stuff forward quicker. So I do agree that it is in a really important position for the municipality moving forward in all the communities, not just in Glencoe. Right now, we're experiencing a fair bit of pressure from Wardsville, and it's extremely important that we deal with those people as well.
Councillor Scholdice, I see your hand. I just want to clarify that this development position should not be confused with economic development. The job function is totally different. Jill can elaborate on that if she wants, but there is no overlap. It's currently a service that is being shared among the duties of our other staff at currently, and we all know the impatience that everyone has to see shovels in the ground, but it has to be done right and the I's dotted in this position. So certainly, Jill, would you add to that at all, that it should not be confused with Sheila's job or someone else? And Mike, you're next.
Yeah, on that point, absolutely. And if after you take the other members of council's comments, I could pop back in, that would be appreciated. Thanks, Mayor.
Go ahead, Councillor Scholdice.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I couldn't agree more with Councillor Vink on this. If he wanted to make a motion to eliminate the new development review coordinator position for $100,000, I'll second it.
Okay. I'll have to ask Councillor Vink will have to speak for himself. Okay, that's confirmed.
Mayor Allen, can I go?
You'll move that, Mark?
Yes, I would like to make the motion.
Okay, that's moved.
Yes, I will, Mayor Allen.
Okay, and it's been seconded by Councillor Scholdice. Krista will open the floor for discussion. Go ahead, Councillor Cowell.
When we talked about making cuts for hard decisions, this is one of the ones I was talking about. I don't want to see this cut. The one thing that's been a constant at most of our planning meetings has been a discussion around how there needs to be more help in the office, and that people need more support in planning their developments in this community. And if we want to see those subdivisions blow up in an effort to help support some of the budgets in the future, I really think this is one of those times where we have to do that. So I won't be supporting this motion because I know that we need an additional professional in the office every single day who can work on development and supporting the people developing. And I don't just mean developers. Developers can pay for planners and they can pay for everything. It's the regular guy, Joe, who's trying to do a zoning or build a house and get his garage going. So if that's one piece of feedback I've received from the ratepayers, it's that we need this. So I won't be supporting this motion.
Okay, yes, Deputy Mayor Wilkins. Thank you, Councillor Cowell. Deputy Mayor Wilkins, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I've actually been asking for a position like this to be created for some time, because what I've been hearing from the public is that they're frustrated. And with the planning and development that we have on the screen for the next few years, I think it's imperative that we fill a position like this as soon as possible. Right now, we have our planner that is doing administrative duties of files. That's not right. She is just there to do the planning issues. And as far as I know, Middlesex County does not provide that or has no intention of providing that. So I will not be supporting that motion either, in an effort to be more efficient and timely in the planning process. Thank you.
Thank you. There's two hands. First, Councillor McGill. I've noticed his hands first, followed by Councillor Scholdice. Go ahead, Mark.
Yep, thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I think we do need a development review coordinator. There's so much development in the planning stages in Southwest Middlesex. We need to move things along, have the staff available to do the job. And as far as Middlesex County's role, they have a bigger role than they used to in the past, because I know in the past, Southwest Middlesex used to have to hire their own planner. They hired, I think, Ted Holwa Consulting to be the planner. And now Middlesex County provides the planner. And when I first got on council, I was looking through the vouchers, I said, when do we pay the county for their planning services? And I found out we don't. That's covered out under the county portion of the taxes we pay. So yeah, we need to proceed with this position.
Thank you, Mark. We'll try to make some efficiency.
Oh, and I'd like a recorded vote.
Yep, and yes, Jill will note that. Councillor Scholdice, you had your hand up there. Mike, go ahead. Thanks for your patience.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I was going to request a recorded vote as well.
That's fine. Yeah. Just to reiterate to council, I can speak for the efficiencies that staff handle things, because, I'm not proud of the fact, but I think, and Joe will agree, almost every day I present a problem to administration. If they're lucky, only one. And they get right on it, and it is solved immediately. And I'll tell you one question our planner has been asked, and I know this probably 3 or 4 times at least, is that when an applicant goes to the planner and says, what do I have to do to get this through? Stephanie hasn't got time to take on that role. And Jill and I have discussed this, whereas a development coordinator can take a client by the hand and work him through the process in a more efficient manner than he could by himself. And I must also remind council that this is the revenue side of doing business, is increased assessment and the development. And that's where our money is going to have to come from in the future. I think did I miss anybody? Yes, Jill, go ahead.
So I guess I probably have commented on this in the past, but so I appreciate the opportunity now. It's part of the issue for us is also that what we've done in trying to put forward this proposal for this position is to try to look at it as the most efficient way to deal with all the number of things. So, I mean, recently I could talk about an example where somebody who is a developer came in order to try to pay something, and it took 5 people to have a conversation to figure out exactly what was supposed to happen. That's not very efficient and rather frustrating for the developer. And if they have a point person, that's where I think it's efficient. And not only from, the service to that individual, but also internally, there would be a need to then go back and consider how we're doing things in each department separately, because some of this that we're proposing is just to fill an existing gap, because as Greg had commented, there was not the type of development that the departments were really responding to in the past. So when they stay static, they're responding to what had been the tasks at hand and not really able to take on something new. So I think it would just require us going back, looking at how we could do something differently so that each department could then support a more coordinated effort if we were not successful in getting this proposal for this position this particular year.
Okay, thank you, Jill. There's a motion on the floor. The chair would like to bring the meeting to a close after a decision is here. And if this motion passes or fails, there may be another motion forthcoming that we would entertain, certainly. Last call for questions. Yes, Deputy Councillor Bartlett. Yep.
Could we just hear the motion again, please?
Okay. Jill, if you could read the motion.
Sure. I think Councillor Vink is on the phone.
Okay.
I'm not sure who the phone.
Yeah, I'll see if it's mine.
It's on video too, eh, Martin?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
definitely on the phone.
Okay. Yeah, Martin, if you can give me a thumbs up, Martin, on how you want to vote. I'm going to call the vote, and the chair will entertain 2 thumbs up if it's yes, 2 thumbs down if it's no. Okay. Okay.
Excuse me, Mayor Allen.
I hear
I'm
you,
on the phone, so I can't do
I'm
2
on the
thumbs
phone,
up.
so I can't do 2 thumbs up.
Okay.
So Councillor Vink, yeah, you'll just have to keep yourself on mute on your computer if you're going to use the phone. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, got that.
So is you ready then, Mayor?
We want a clarification on the motion, Jill. If you could read it, please.
So this is that the development review coordinator position be removed from the 2022 budget.
Okay.
And
okay, we're good to go.
okay, it was requested by Councillor McGill. So Councillor McGill?
No.
Right. And we go next to Councillor Cowell.
No.
And Councillor Fink.
Yes.
And Councillor Bartlett.
No.
And then Councillor Scholdice.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wilkins.
No.
Mayor Mayhew.
No.
And it's defeated.
Okay. Council, with that being defeated, can the chair construe from that conversation that there's some support for this? And would someone make a motion to entertain it? Moved by Councillor McGill.
Mayor Mayhew, I think we already did. Do we need a motion, Jill, on that? That it stays in?
It's up to you here.
I think the chair would like to see the motion, and I think the chair would like to see the motion. It's a significant amount of money, and it's also very good for the development of that. And I'd like to see it recorded. Councillor McGill, the chair will entertain your motion if you'd like to put that forth. They get approval? Okay, thank you. Is there a seconder for that? Deputy Mayor Wilkins, questions? All in favor that the position be retained in the budget, please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion is carried. Council, thank you very, very much for your efforts on that. I think we still, I would be amiss not to say that I'm sure if I was to poll council, which I will not do, that each of us has a benchmark of what we would feel as a comfortable in terms of a tax rate increase. So we know we have more work to go, as well as the suggestions of staff. We certainly want to look at this budget and you examine the lines on this budget. If you have any concerns, reach out to Kristen. I'm sure she'll be able to provide you with some details. And we'll work away at this until we get down to that comfortable benchmark that we can approve. There is no unfinished business, Jill. At this time, if someone would like to move the recommendation of the confirming bylaw of the meeting, a mover and a seconder for that, please. Councillor McGill, seconded by Councillor Scholdice. All in favor? Is carried. Council and staff, our next meeting will be December 15th. That is subject to change. And I just encourage staff to keep their creative hat on. And council, would you like some direction to staff to go back and do some more number crunching? If the staff do not make the decisions, they follow council's direction. The council, do you have any direction that we can give staff? Yes, Councillor Scholdice.
If they feel thank you, Mayor Mayhew. If they feel they have more numbers they can crunch, I would say by all means do it. Okay, so we'll ask staff to come back with some additional recommendations for reducing the tax rate. And we know, staff, that it's extremely challenging, and we know the relationship between service and taxation. It's well understood. But Kristen, what are we at right now?
We're at 5.09.
5.09. Okay, well, 5.09. Yeah, well,
Council could give us a target that they'd like to get to. That might be helpful.
I'd like that. As I say, I was trying to coax that out of it. Mike, friendly amendment to that motion. Is there a tax rate increase that you would like to put in that you would feel comfortable with to see if there's an endorsement? It has to be realistic, though.
2%.
That's pretty low. Okay, is there a seconder for that? I'm looking for a seconder for that. Martin is seconding that. Okay. Got it, Martin. Is there any questions? And Kristen, you may have some challenges with that. You would have to knock $300,000 off this budget in order to achieve what the motion states. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. So as long as it's understood by council that is what we're asking staff to do, to knock an additional $300,000 off the budget. Yes, Councillor Scholdice.
Just for clarification, I know Jill had mentioned about where the sidewalk money was coming from.
Yes.
I just wondered, would that money be able to be used anywhere else?
It's very specifically stated where it can be used, and I'll let Kristen or Jill answer that. Go ahead. Kristen, go ahead.
I can answer that if you'd like. The sidewalks, we're going to be funded with gas tax and OCIF funding, and those are two unconditional grants that we get each year, but they have to be for core infrastructure. So we can't use them really much at all in recreation. It has to be roads, bridges, water, sewer, those types of core infrastructure assets.
Yeah. Okay, Councillor Scholdice.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. The reason why I bring it up is I'm just wondering how much is the most we've spent on sidewalks in a single year previously. I don't have that figure, but it just seems like we're spending an awful lot this year on it, and that's why I mention it.
Yeah. It's a good point, Councillor Scholdice, and I had the same concern. I know it's a case of catch up, and we had a late tender come through last year, and council denied pursuing a $90,000 contract for a short piece of sidewalk because we're hoping to get a better price per linear meter on it. And that has a reflection on the cost of doing sidewalks, but there is some catch up to do on that. But this council, and I certainly hold responsibility too, are behind on sidewalks. Councillor Cowell, go ahead.
Through the chair to the treasurer. So I know at the original amount, 6.58%, we were looking at an annual average increase of $173 per household. At the 5% now, what is the average increase expected from a residential property?
$134.63 annually.
Okay, thank you very much, Kristen. Thank you, Councillor Kell. Councillor Vink, go ahead, ask your question. Oh, Martin's froze up on us. Martin, I'm sorry about that. You had some technical difficulties there. We have a motion on the floor. Are there any other questions? Last call. The motion indicates that that staff entertain a target of a 2% rate increase and tax rate increase and come back with the recommendations to achieve that. Do I have that right, Councillor Scholdice? Okay.
That is
okay. Any questions? Last call. I'll call the question. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Okay. I'm looking for Martin here. Okay, I've got it. All opposed to the motion, please raise your hand. Motion is defeated. Council, is there another target that someone would like to bring forth? Yes, Councillor Cal.
I would be interested in seeing what 4% would lose us. I would make that motion.
Is there a seconder for that? Councillor McGill? Okay, I've got that. There is a motion on the floor. Councillor Vink, thank you for coming back. Martin, I saw your hand up. Yep, Councillor Scholdice.
just for clarification, Mayor Mayhew. So we're saying that we're shooting for 4% this year.
I want that motion reread. I don't like to put up such definitive walls. I think this could be something that could come back to council. Councillor Cal, is your motion. What's your intent there?
I'd like to see at least a 1% decrease right now. Like, what would we take away $100,000 from? In my mind, I have suggestions to lower the increase. So my motion is saying it won't be more than 4% is kind of what I'm aiming for. Unless there was something that we kept that I was like, oh, I really, really want that.
Yeah,
which hit the budget, so I doubt it.
Yeah. I compliment Kristen on the way she's presented this report today. It's been very good, Kristen, that you've given some options to council to make those decisions. So, you know, even if there's if we could look at, if there were options like you did before, what would you suggest from a 3.4% tax increase to a 4% tax increase, or from a 3 to a 4% tax increase, and present it just as you have in this report today. This was easy to go through. It added to discussion, and I think that would be great to see. But Councillor Cal, I compliment you on that. I know that you don't want 4% carved in stone. That's I can understand that. But from the chair's perspective, and to get through some efficiencies, we know the cost of living is probably more than 3%. And Kristen will confirm that it's 4.5 or something like that. So if we could come in between 3 and 4, we would be, I think, in the middle of the pack, a little closer to 3. But Kristen, any comment on that?
No, I can work towards, sorry, Councillor Vink's coming back in on the phone. I can, Jill and Greg and Colin and I can work towards putting some proposals together, and what may happen is that we bring some things forward that we feel like we can live without, and perhaps council will, you know, decide that they don't want to live without them. So we can bring back proposals to get us down to 4%, and maybe council doesn't accept all of the proposals.
Okay. But I guess what the chair is asking for is that, you know, I want a range of options available if we can.
Yeah.
And of course, bear in mind, Councillor Cowell's motion that we don't want to exceed 4%, but I'd like that parameters of 2.9 to 3.9. Anyway, there's questions I'm missing here. Councillor Vink, go ahead, Martin. And it's too bad you're having the issues there. Go ahead, Martin. I can't hear you, Martin. Unmute yourself. See if you're gonna. Okay, Martin.
Hello.
Yep, go quick.
Okay, yes, I just want to point out that City of London has passed a budget of 2.85%. And Sarnia has passed a budget of 1.91%.
Okay, thank you. That's good information, and they certainly have experienced growth. I remind council that we have lots of development plans, but we're not seeing shovels in the ground yet. So we haven't got the assessment, but those two examples have had a significant amount of new assessment. Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Jill, have we got a seconder for that?
I seconded it.
Yeah, okay, Councillor McGill. Deputy Mayor, do you have a question?
Not really, more of a comment. And this is to Councillor Schultes and Councillor Vink, who made the last motion. And I agree, I'd like to see a 2% increase, but I think if we're being realistic and we've been doing our homework and paying attention to the past budgets this term, we would have had to have come in at least 2% or over 2% last year instead of under 2%. So as much as I agree with you, I'd like to see that. I don't think that's being realistic unless we cut services. And I don't think anybody here wants to hear what happens when the public realizes we've cut services. So just a thought to maybe remember. I do have a question, actually, once I think about it, Mayor Mayhew, if I could ask Kristen. Kristen, you said that the impact on the average house, what's the price of that average house?
So when I give you the price of the house, it is, I know it's not reflective of current market rates, but it's what MPAC has listed. So it's actually what the tax impact will be. So it's $186,224. So that's the average home's tax basis. So that's $134.63.
Very much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that impact freezing the assessment rates have not been kind to municipalities in terms of budgeting, because the subtle rise in assessments give us a little extra revenue every year. And with this moratorium on this, when they do take the moratorium off, I know it's going to be graduated over a period of perhaps 5 years, but taxes will go up significantly when COVID-19 ends and MPAC once again looks at assessments. Okay, and I respect the motion of Schultes and Vink that we too want a competitive tax rate, gentlemen, and we certainly will hopefully we can get it. It may not be 2, but we certainly hope that we can move in that direction. Councillor Vink, last question. Go ahead, Martin.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Allen. Yep, thank you, Mayor Allen. Just to counteract what the Deputy Mayor says, I think we do have to start looking at reducing a few of the services. For instance, I mentioned that before, the Stratford Park, I don't think we really need that. We have to start looking at reducing the Recreation Department's jobs as far as landscaping. So I think we have 66 different gardens, and I think we should be looking at reducing that. I have a farm the other side of Wardsville. I go between Battle Hill and Wardsville quite often. Every other time I see someone at the Battle Hill monument that's being used more than the Stratford Park is. And so we don't need two parks so close by. So that's the sort of thing that we have to look at in the future and to reduce services.
Okay. All right. Okay, council, we'll call the vote. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. All opposed? Motion is carried. All right, there's no unfinished business. Bylaws, have we moved the bylaws yet, Jill? I thought I was in a position where I almost moved them, but I don't think we got to that, that the confirming bylaw, mover and a seconder for that.
Yep, you did.
Got it? Okay, that's fine. Then the future meeting is December 15th, and that's certainly conditional upon how staff, Jill, make gains on this. And if that has to be changed, the agenda has indicated is subject to change. And if staff require more time, certainly council will give it to them. And number 8, adjourn the meeting at 5:52, and we'll see you back at 7 o'clock, guys.